I thank my colleague for yielding. Mr. Speaker, since President Trump took office, I have heard from hundreds of my constituents who are concerned about attacks by this new administration on the Environmental Protection Agency and the potential long-term negative impacts on public health, clean water, clean air, and our nation's work to play a leading role in combating climate change. Thelma from Lowell wrote, "Without EPA and its mission to protect our water and air, I fear that all the work done over the past 40 years will be erased," unquote. Ingrid from Groton wrote, "I need to be able to trust that the EPA will protect our air, water, land, and health. But Scott Pruitt has worked so closely with polluters, even suing the EPA more than a dozen times. How can we trust that he will protect our health and safety?" Unquote. And demonstrating just how personal an issue this is for many people, Catherine from Acton wrote to me that, "This is my first time writing a congressional representative, and I am proud to be doing so now, though my motivation is less heartening. As a mother of 2 precocious young kids, I have little time to do much beyond the essentials of daily living, much less writing a letter. So I assure you this one is written out of a feeling of necessity," unquote. She went on to say, "Environmental pollution is real and in our backyards. It contaminates our air, our water, and our land. Cleanups of these pollutants is extremely difficult, if not impossible, and the implications for our health are astounding," unquote. Unfortunately, the legislation before us today will do nothing to assuage the fears of my constituents and millions of others around the country who support independent, unbiased, science-based decision-making at the EPA, which is essential to protecting public health, clean water, and combating climate change. Instead of promoting sound science, this legislation would weaken the scientific expertise of the EPA's Science Advisory Board, the independent body that reviews scientific and technical information used in EPA decision-making and provides scientific advice to the EPA administrator. If Congress really wants to promote sound science, I would urge consideration of the Scientific Integrity Act, legislation that I introduced along with Ranking Member Johnson and Representatives Lowenthal and Tonko. Our bill will protect scientific research at federal agencies from political interference and special interests. This legislation currently has 93 co-sponsors, and it deserves debate in this House. The majority is trying to claim that the legislation before us today helps us achieve goals similar to those of the Scientific Integrity Act. But my constituents aren't fooled. I urge my colleagues to vote no on H.R. 1431, and I yield back.